Welcome back to 215. Today we begin our study series on the Gospel of Luke. We've previously studied through the Gospel of John, and while there is some overlap recorded in both Gospel accounts, Luke's perspective is unique and crucial in offering a more complete picture of the life, events, and teachings of Jesus Christ. I wanted to begin by taking a look at some of the background of this writing. As one might guess, this particular Gospel account, it was penned by the individual Luke. As a result, this particular letter shares his name. Luke is believed to have been a Syrian from Antioch and a physician by trade. With that in mind, this gospel account emphasizes a tremendous attention to detail, as we will see in the text. While this particular author was not one of the apostles, that is, Jesus' core group of men who traveled with him during his earthly ministry, Luke's goal was to compile an orderly account of the events of Jesus' life. As such, many of the eyewitnesses of the included events are cited in this letter. Much like the Gospel of John, Luke never identifies himself as the writer of this gospel account. However, we are able to identify him as the author based on context. The Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts share the same author and are written to the same individual, one Theophilus. In fact, the book of Acts begins by referencing a first account that was addressed to Theophilus, undoubtedly pointing to the Gospel of Luke. Early church fathers, including Irenaeus and Tertullian, also identify Luke as the author of this account. The dating for the Gospel of Luke is largely based on the dating of the book of Acts. In particular, we see that the book of Acts ends as Paul is imprisoned in Rome before his death. This would place the book of Acts as being written prior to AD 68. With Luke actually being written as the first volume of two, some historians date the Gospel of Luke at approximately AD 60. This places it well within the first century after the events occurred and also positions this account as the third of four Gospels to be written. Luke's Gospel account has a unique approach, while also being similar enough to the other accounts that it is considered to be one of the synoptic Gospels, the other two being Matthew and Mark. While the Gospel of John, of which we have recently concluded our study, held a strong emphasis on the deity of Jesus, presenting him as the Son of God, Luke presents Jesus with an emphasis on his deity as the Son of Man. In many ways, the implementation of this idea can be summed up by Luke chapter 19, verse 10, where it says, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and save that which was lost." Within the pages of this account, we frequently see Jesus associate and interact with individuals who would have been considered the outcasts of society, all with the intent of calling them to repentance and belief in him. Great examples of this actually include tax collectors like Zacchaeus, criminals such as those he was crucified alongside, and women of ill repute as she anointed his feet with perfume. Jesus even uses some outcasts such as Samaritans in some of his illustrations. Yet even in the midst of all of this, we see Jesus' constant focus on the mission of the Father. Perhaps no better goal of this writing is given than in the very first words included within the text at Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile an account of the things accomplished among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and servants of the word, it seemed fitting for me as well, having investigated everything carefully from the beginning, to write it out for you in consecutive order, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may know the exact truth about the things you have been taught. So join me as I study through the Gospel of Luke. My heart and intent is for us to glean and gain as much as we can from this study. So without further ado, let's get started.